So what we're doing here, we're setting up to hone. Let me show you how this works. We got the ball hone here. You slowly spin the motor as you put it in the bore, and you're looking for a crosshatch of about 45 degrees. So we've lubricated that bore. I'll show you how to do that on this one. Slowly spin it with your drill motor and push it in. And move it back and forth. Now we'd already lubricated that with automatic transmission fluid. As you can see, it doesn't take too long to bust up that glaze. Now we'll take a look in here. Make sure we got all the looking pretty good except for one little spot right there. So we'll put a little bit more on that spot. Get our lube in there. That lube cleans out that those silicone balls. We don't want to get them plugged up. And we're not going terrible long. If we're going to, you know, it's a self-centering, self-aligning. Everything works out good. We're not trying to take off massive amounts of metal here. We're just setting the crosshatch. Setting the crosshatch and making sure we have all of the glaze in that cylinder wall broken up. Now we're looking pretty good. So what we're looking at, looking for the crosshatch, you're setting the groove one, you're setting the hone one way, you're getting your I don't know what you'd call it, but anyway, you're busting the glaze and you're setting up that just a little tiny bit of metal there, kind of raising the edge of that metal as you hone it down. And as you pull it back, then it makes the other, and so you're looking for the intersection of 45 degrees here. You, if you get it too much, then you're running a file and wearing out the rings. Get it too little, and the rings are going to spin and rotate too fast, and you're going to wear things out. 45 degrees does a great job of holding the oil in there so the piston glides across the surface of the oil, and it keeps it lubricated. It helps a little bit of microscopic wear on the piston rings to mate to the bore and get a good seal. So several things that happen with the crosshatch. You want to make sure that it's as close as you can get to a 45 degree, not 90, not 45s on each side, but you want a 45 degree on the crosshatch. So we'll finish this up, and then it's going to be time to clean up the bore. We went ahead and we got all those little grooves filed in there. We made those roughly 10 thousandths wide and 10 thousandths deep. It's not going to leak a lot of oil, but it should keep some pressure oil to the cam lobes, and I don't think we'll have any problems with idling oil pressure. Given everything about this motor, it's going to be probably running on 1540 unless it's winter. So I think we'll be fine on our oil pressure. We'll certainly find out. So let me finish this up, and we'll start cleaning up and looking towards assembly. Okay, remember, we were talking about whether or not this engine bore needed to be line honed or not. So I've got an accurate straight edge, and I've run it down the side, on this side, on that side. I run it up and down, and we're running real close to true. So we're going to be okay on that line hone. But you can take a known straight edge, just go through there, check your bores, make sure you're where you need to be, and then you'll know if you've got something that you need to deal with about the machine shop. You can check it on your own. Okay, we just keep finding more and more things. This block had a dipstick tube in it, and it had broke off, and the previous guy had never really plugged it up right, so it was seeping and leaking. So I knocked it out. We're going to tap it with a 1/8 inch pipe tap. We're going to run a plug down in there, seal it up, because we're putting a Fox body pan on this thing, and it's got the dipstick in the pan. We won't need that. it will just be a problem and a leak. So we're going to seal it up. So we'll run that pipe tab in there, and then we'll put the 1/8" pipe plug in there. All right. Now on this block, we've got the oil plug galleys, and the oil system comes from the oil filter over here, and then it goes up the galley where you got your oil filter here, and up to a main galley, goes down the back, and then up here, down here, are tied in with the lifter banks, and they flow forward to the hole here and the hole here. And the lifter galley, the pressure galley comes here, and then down this one to the back. And also they come from this galley down to the mains. So when you tap, what it had in it was these dish type pipe plugs, which can push out under pressure. So I took 1/4" tap, tapped it in there. Now on these two, you can tap and kind of go until, and then do a trial fit with your pipe plug on your Allen wrench, and you just run it in there and just kind of go until it's about flush on those two. Then on this one, you want to make sure that this pipe plug is not too long, because if you start getting too long, you're going to start blocking your oil flow from your galley, and then you're going to have problems down the road. So you got to be a little bit careful on that one. But on these two, you don't have to worry. But you do have to worry on this one, because if you go too deep, it will go into the lifter bore, which is right behind it right there. So you want to, just kind of be careful. And then on this one, what I do is, after I get that one drilled and tapped, in the middle of the Allen hole, we're going to drill a small hole, like maybe 20 thousandths of a hole, and that will squirt right onto the distributor gear, and that will decrease wear on the distributor gear and the cam gear. And it's going to help also spray lube into the timing chain and make the timing chain last longer. Because you want, like we talked about, I got the best quality timing chain I could get. Because if you start getting slop in that timing chain, all the work you put into this motor is going to be affected on the cam and how it's indexed to the crank. So you start getting slop, that cam is going to start to retard as it gets slop. Then you lose your bottom end power, and you'll lose everything that you've designed carefully is going to start to slowly fade away. So good quality chain, some nice cool oil coming to the distributor gear down to the bearing on the backside of that cam gear, and also onto that chain. Because it's only a splash lubrication, we're going to put a little bit more on it and help it live longer. Now on the oil filter, you don't have to do this, but I try to make things best I can. If you'll look right here, stock factory, that's a 1/2 inch. And then over here, it comes in here and makes this 90-degree corner. And that is probably the most restrictive place in the block. So I enlarged this already. I drilled this out to 9/16 here, 9/16 there where it intersects. And then I'm going to take my rotary air tool, and I'm going to just kind of bevel that corner, that 90-degree corner. I'm going to bevel it to a 45, and then that will help some oil flow get through there and past the most restrictive part. So now we are down to, I'm going to do a little bit of checking here on the cylinder heads, get everything ready to take to the car wash, wash it up real good. I'm going to take these plugs out of the back, see right here, and then there's one right over here. I want to take those plugs out so we can wash out the oil galleys real good. So I'm just getting everything ready to take to the car wash, get it cleaned up real good so we can start going towards assembly.